How's it going, everyone? Wayne the Unknown here, and welcome to another episode of Cosplay Con Talk, where we basically discuss everything pertaining to the cosplay community and conventions. Tonight, we are doing another segment on Get to Know That Cosplayer, and tonight's featured guest is Cosplaimee. How you doing,
Thanks
Amy?
for inviting me on the show. I'm doing really well. Excited to be here. I do a podcast every week, so it's cool to be on someone else's podcast.
Nice. I guess to first start out, what made you come up with the name Cosplaimee?
Truly, I love puns. I have the dad joke sense of humor out of my friend group. So I was trying to come up with a cosplay name. I wanted to start like an Instagram account and a Facebook page just for my cosplays, mostly to stop bombarding my regular Facebook friends with my cosplay updates. So I literally just posted a status and somebody said, "Oh, Cosplaimee." I was like, "Oh, that's great." So I just went with that. It is spelled a little differently. It's spelled Cosplaimee based on the strange spelling of my legal name, but just went with it.
Nice, nice. And by the way, really well done on the pun name.
Oh, thank you.
To begin, how long have you been cosplaying for?
I first started cosplaying in 2012. I actually went to a convention with some friends as a bucket list item, and it obviously didn't stop at just a bucket list item. So it's been almost 10 years of cosplay. My first con was Komori Con, which I still go to just about every year. And we did two groups. We did a Teen Titans group in which I was Raven. My friends were Beast Boy and Terra. So you're kind of like the little love triangle there.
Naturally.
Which was the first costume I made, which I think is a great starter cosplay because capes are easy. And then the other costume my friend's mom made for me, we were from Avatar. So I was Ty Lee, which matches my personality. And at the time I had been doing dance teams. So that really works with that character being a gymnast. And then my friends were Toph and Zuko.
Nice. And they said the character's name was Ty Lee from Avatar?
From Avatar, yeah. Actually, at the time, I hadn't seen Avatar. I just really wanted to do something with my friends, but now I've seen all of Avatar. I know, and I was totally missing out. It was such a great show.
Okay, now I know. Wears like pink and red.
Yeah, she's the bouncy one, and my friends are like, "Hey, Amy, you can do the splits. You should be our Ty Lee." And I'm like, "Okay, I just want to do something with my friends. You guys flag the questions, and I'll dress up as whoever you want me to."
Well, hey, I think always doing group cosplays is pretty fun.
It can be. It can be if everyone's as dedicated as you are. I've been in some amazingly fun groups where everything comes together and everyone does their part and finishes their costume. I've also been in groups where people drop the last second.
Oh,
people expect you to make their costume. Yeah, it can go either way. Once you find your tribe, your solid group of cosplayers who you know you can rely on, groups definitely can take your cosplay experience to like a whole new level of fun.
I can't argue with that. What was it like going to Komori Con almost 10 years ago?
So different. For starters, everybody was in Homestuck cosplay.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of Homestuck stories from back then, especially one called the Sharpie incident.
Yeah, there's a YouTube video circulating about that. The person who dyed their skin with Sharpies. But most people would just do, when you're doing body paint, you can do water-based or cream-based. Cream-based is basically like a paste, and you can set it, but a lot of these Homestuck cosplayers were getting a reputation for covering themselves in gray body paint, not setting it, and then glomping. I don't know if glomp circles are something people still do, but
yeah,
not after COVID.
I'm sadly familiar with the term glomping.
Yeah, so they would glomp all over you with their body paint. Hotels were getting quite a animosity for cosplayers because the Homestuck group were getting the towels gray. But it was kind of a unique time because Homestuck had these sporadic updates. So people would like make cosplays for Homestuck in their hotel overnight. So I wasn't really part of that community, but there was a lot to it. It's kind of a weird cosplay phenomenon that probably could be a whole podcast episode in itself.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, no. On the terms of body painting, have you done body paint for yourself for your cosplays?
Only a couple times. I'm okay at makeup. I wear makeup on the daily. anyway, which definitely helps. I did Shigo, which took many makeup tests, and even at the end, thank goodness for the fact that I didn't have a good camera on my phone because I don't think the paint turned out how I wanted it to. I did like a Princess Bubblegum cosplay, like her science outfit for a Halloween party with pink. And then I've done like some scar makeup and stuff like that. I did my friend's All Might makeup, which worked really well. I did my friend's Todoroki makeup from My Hero. And my next cosplay is going to be Jester from Critical Role. So I'm going to work even more on my body paint.
Is the blue one correct?
Yes, she is an adorable blue tiefling, and she has a pretty cute dress.
And she has and if I'm not mistaken, I've seen some cosplays with her where she has a giant, excuse my language, a giant ass freaking lollipop.
Yes, yeah, it's her spirit weapon, which will be so fun to make. Maybe when there's cons again, I can hand out lollipops. But yeah, that's been a cool cosplay because I'm making it pretty much 90% from thrifted fabrics. So I got this jacket for 25 cents, seam ripped it, and I made myself a corset out of it. I made the skirt out of a tablecloth, just anything I already had or purchased. I only had to buy a few things. I'm going to take apart some jewelry for it from thrift stores. So that's been a neat challenge.
I'm sure those who are listening and who are in the area or go to any cons here are looking forward to seeing it.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I look forward to just cons in general. I just need to be around my people.
I think a lot of people are looking forward to going back to cons. It's definitely been a long... It's been too long, even though it's been like 2 years almost.
Yeah, lucky for me, I did have the wonderful opportunity to attend and even guest at a few digital cons this year. I was invited to a Montana con, Okisoricon, prior to the pandemic as a guest, but they decided to keep me on as a digital guest, so I hosted a multitude of panels. And then Digikumo is the best digital convention experience I think any of us could have hoped for. Me and my skit podcast group, the Sakura Rangers, put on a cooking panel, a dating game panel. I put on a panel on speed builds, one on how to write cosplay skits. So it was just really fun. And actually, these panels, I got to do a test run of them through the digital format. So now I have kind of a backlog of panels that I can bring to physical cons that I've already run through at least once or twice, which is really cool.
Nice. And you've, like I said, as you said, you've been to a lot of cons, and you've even done even had a few of your own cosplay booths at con, if I'm not mistaken.
My con by Colossal Girl in Idaho. When they first were coming to the Rogue Valley, I sent them a message. I was like, how can I be involved? I really want to help. And they're like, well, we need a mascot and you'd be perfect. So that was super exciting. So I am the Meadowlark. I am the mascot for Meadowlark Comic Con. So that con, which usually takes place in May, which has not occurred for the last 2 years, I will greet people at the door and do the contest and kind of just walk around and cosplay. And then they have another one called Anna Medford in August, which happens to fall on my birthday weekend, which is always fun. Last year, I got to have my own booth where I sold some prints and just some handmade like dice bags and jewelry. And then I also got to host a lip sync contest, which was Medford's first lip sync contest, which was such a supportive, wonderful thing. Everyone was so positive with all the performances. So that was just a real treat to have my own booth.
Yeah, I remember seeing that back at Medford 2019. I mean, for such a small area, I think they did really well.
They did. Colossal Girl Entertainment always brings so much professionalism into what they do. They make posters with their characters. They're always collaborating with artists to create art of their characters. Really, I like working with them quite a bit. I love working with the Medford Library as well. With the library convention, we do the cosplay photo ops, and it's really fun.
Again, I'm hoping next year that cons do come back.
I'm hopeful even for the end of this year with the vaccine rollouts. So fingers crossed for KomoriCon 2021.
And then, of course, Meadowlark and Anna Medford, because I know they were talking about having days apart from one another this year, I think.
Yeah, they should have that rescheduled for this August. and I unless there's any legislation that makes it so that's not possible, I feel like that is their plan to go forward with that. But again, everything's so touch and go with what the
Right.
virus is doing.
I guess the next question is, what would you say your hardest cosplay is that you've ever done yourself? Like you made it by yourself, and it just whatever, trial and error and all that stuff.
Oh, that's kind of a hard question. Every time I do a new costume, there's something about it that's new or challenging. So I always try to learn a new skill. I made Mount Lady last year, and it doesn't look hard, right? Because it's just a bodysuit, but it was stretch appliques, which when you try to sew a design onto stretch fabric, it's really easy for it to get distorted. And this was an incredibly angular design. So I feel like that costume, even though it doesn't look too complicated, was really difficult. And then I also made Lady Hellscythe, her name's hard for me to pronounce, Lady Hellscythe, from Is This a Zombie? Was my first time making armor, so that was also really hard, and I made that at a Sintra, and that one was evaluated for a costume. But really, I make most of my costumes from scratch, or I'll do some sort of upcycling.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Now, with that same topic question, have you ever had a cosplay that, like, while you're going to con or getting it ready, like something ripped, torn, fell off, or it's just something just didn't go the way it should have gone?
I think a better question would be, have I ever had a cosplay where that hasn't happened? It's I don't know, you're always learning what can and can't exist in a 3D space, right? Because cosplay is taking a 2D reality and making it 3D. So there's always something, like the socks don't stay up, the headpiece doesn't stay to the wig like you thought it was, the wig gets really tangled throughout the day. Maybe like your necklace you made. One time I made a necklace out of tin cans and it chafed all day, so I was cutting up. Yeah, I learned that lesson. Yeah. I thought I was so clever. I'm like, I don't have to buy metal. Your foam creases, your paint flex. In cosplay, we have the 5-foot rule. If it looks good from 5 feet away, you're okay. So just take your pictures at the beginning of the day when your makeup and costume is fresh, and then all bets are off after that.
Duly noted. So now I gotta ask, because I remember seeing it back at, I want to say it was Medford Comic Con 2019. You had made Toru Kobayashi. I gotta ask, what did you use, and how long did it take to make the tail? I'm curious on that.
The tail I used fleece, which actually ended up being really awesome because I brought that to KomoriCon, and we all ended up staying in an overfull hotel, so it was my pillow for sleeping on. But I made it out of dark green and light green fleece. I cut out a whole bunch of tiles. I made myself a pattern and just traced it, and then I did a Sharpie outline. I really liked it because it was soft and lightweight. It was just full of batting, and under my skirt I had like a utility belt for it to stay on with like a buckle. But the bad thing about that one is it would pick up leaves.
Ooh, that's never fun.
But yeah, I made my friend's Elma tail the same way, out of fleece.
Nice. How much did it altogether? How much did it weigh? Because like you said, it felt like a pillow.
Yeah, not very much. Less than 10 pounds, maybe even less than 5. Really easy. It didn't put a lot of strain on my body to have that all day, which is good. You kind of have to choose comfort when you're cosplaying. I don't think enough cosplayers choose comfort.
No, from what I've seen, and I mean, I don't have the experience myself, but I've seen cosplayers go above and beyond with their like big supportive cosplays, and I had talked about this with another cosplayer previously. How someone who wears a big massive cosplay, how are they able to go to the bathroom? That's what I'd like to know.
You need to think about that when you're building into it, and you need a friend who is comfortable unzipping you or holding up your hoop skirt or what have you. So,
I mean,
teamwork.
Let's say props to those who could manage to do that, because I just. Oof,
yeah, the least comfortable thing I ever did for a cosplay is I did Ryuk from Death Note, which is way out of my wheelhouse. I usually love doing just like my waifus, my beautiful female characters that I just am obsessed with. So I'm like, I must date them or become them, and they're not real, so I have to become them. In action. And then I made myself out of plastic melting beads with dye, and I used acrylic nails cut into the teeth shapes. So the whole day, like I looked really cool, but if you were standing right next to me, you'd hear me going because I had this big mouth.
I remember seeing the pictures on your Instagram where you're into the cosplay contest as Ryuk, and I like the eyes and the teeth, and that looks like it was a lot of work.
That actually was one of my easiest cosplays because I just wanted to have fun with it. So I got a whole bunch of stuff from the dollar store, and it was right by Halloween. So I used a lot of Halloween decorations. The big shoulder things, I just used poster board. So it actually ended up being pretty easy. I wasn't stressing about the costume too much because it was for a skit contest at KomoriCon. I did a cover of Never Had a Friend Like Me as Never Had a Shinigami as Ryuk, accompanied with a tap dance. And the timing was perfect because it was just when the new Death Note Netflix thing had come out. So they opened it. What?
I have some interesting comments on that, but that's going to be saved for a podcast later down the road.
Right. We could do a whole podcast again on the adaptations of popular animes to movies.
That's actually a funny thing is that's actually something I actually want to talk about is animes and video games being turned into movies. Again, for another time for those who are interested.
Yes.
Yeah. But I mean, it looks like you had fun though with Ryuk.
Yeah, I always have fun doing the skits. Doing song cover skits is one of my favorite things to do. At SakuraCon, my friend and I did Elsa and Sub-Zero in a cover of Let It Go called Let It KO about how Sub-Zero was trying to discover his sensitive side and Elsa was helping him, even though he was stealing her solo.
That's too funny.
2019, the Sakura Rangers and I had the opportunity to host the cosplay contest for KomoriCon, which was such a huge honor, probably one of the biggest honors of my cosplay career. And we got to host it with Mama Samu, who I just love dearly. So we did a myriad of Disney songs covered by My Hero Academia characters, like Hellfire was covered by Todoroki. I covered Gaston's song from Beauty and the Beast as Mount Lady. Midnight did I Won't Say I'm in Love. It was just really cute. Of course, we had Froggy do a song from Princess and the Frog.
Oh, naturally. Now, Sakura Rangers, what made you guys form that group for cosplaying?
So the original group's kind of a funny story. Originally, it's 4 guys. Seattle Beast Cosplay, Zacard, our friend Cole, who does not do a big social media presence, and then Zerky Durky from the Anime Hunters, or Dane. So a whole bunch of names there. They all were wearing Power Ranger cosplays in a cosplay chess game at SakuraCon, and the person who was coordinating the event thought they all knew each other, but they didn't. So put them all together. And then they just stayed together as friends, and they started this podcast, and I got picked up a few years into it. Actually, I became friends with them because I was at the convention in cosplay chess, which is super fun. And I didn't have a phone charger, and I complained to one person, and that was Robert, who's our Red Ranger. And he's like, he at the time was selling phone chargers, a whole bunch of stuff in there. So he helped me charge my phone so I could contact my friends and get back to my hotel. And just seeing each other year after year, we became really close. And they invited me to be a member of the podcast, and I accepted. And then we were like, hey, we should do a skit together. Because prior to that, I had just been dragging any of my friends who were at the convention, like, hey, do a skit with me. Do a skit with me. And they were like, okay, I guess, because I love you, but I don't really want to do this.
Well, shout out to the other members of the Sakura Rangers. Definitely would be looking forward to doing a podcast with them.
Oh, absolutely. We can do that anytime.
Because I recently did a podcast with 2 members of the Cosplay Coven.
Oh, they're wonderful. We have an episode where we interview them on our podcast, too. I love them. Savannah Sparklylicious Cosplay from Cosplay Coven was one of my earliest convention friends. We did a skit together at NewCon. way back ago. It was saying it was at NewCon says how long ago it was because that con doesn't exist anymore. And then Samazon Cosplay I met at Cherry City Con also doesn't exist anymore, and she was just so sweet. We met backstage at a cosplay contest, and she's a really wonderful person, and really is what the cosplay is good about the cosplay community. And Lexi is just awesome too. Her makeup skills, oh my goodness.
Most
I don't know which two you had, but
I had Sparkly Licious cosplay and So Into Music. So I had Lexi and Vanna.
Oh, I love them. They're wonderful.
That was definitely a fun interview. Now, what is one cosplay you have not done in so long that, once COVID and everything is officially over and banned to the Shadow Realm, that you would want to bring back?
My friends always tease me for not being a big costume repeater, which is so bad. I'm trying to get better about that. A lot of my earlier cosplays are not of a quality level that I feel comfortable wearing them again. I do really want to remake Miss Marvel. I want to remake my Mordred cosplay from Fate. I love wearing that cosplay, but it was a speed build that I made in one day because I'm crazy, and I would love to remake it with more time and everything. And then I really have been wanting to remake or wear more Dead or Alive cosplays. Nobody cares about my Dead or Alive cosplays because nobody cares about that franchise anymore, but I want to make more.
I do, if I'm not mistaken. Who have you done from Dead or Alive? It was like, what, Ayane?
Yeah, I've done Ayane twice. I cosplayed Kasumi. I made Tina, and I did Swimsuit Tina. And when I did Tina, I had a Bass Armstrong. So that's one of my favorites. I got some really cool pictures from that.
It's not Tina without her father.
That one was funny. We did a cosplay chess battle one time with... I should provide context. Cosplay chess is when you do a big chess game, but everyone's in cosplay. And when a piece takes another piece, you do a battle. So I did a really bad Southern accent, and basically Bass said, "Tina, what are you doing?" and carried me off stage for misbehaving. So it was really fun.
Yeah, I think that's one franchise not many people, you rarely see a few cosplays of, which, I think you should see more of.
I think the fighting video game genre is kind of dying. And I love cosplaying from I've done Cammy from Street Fighter. I want to do Morrigan from Darkstalkers. I love fighting video games, but maybe it's because I'm a spazzy button masher. I did Talon from Soul Calibur. That was one of my first cosplays.
Nice. I mean, hey, at least someone's, showing some fighter characters that you don't really see much of, or you see a lot of, but you rarely see, them cosplay that specific character.
Yeah, well, I don't know. There's a good balance between cosplaying what's popular and getting people noticing you and talking to you, right? Because you want people to say, "Hey, I like your costume," but then you also have to stick to, well, what are your real interests? Because if somebody else comes up to me in a Dead or Alive costume and is just as into the series as me, that makes me so happy because I'm like, yes, another one like me who loves these old fighting games.
I think it's good when someone actually recognizes a character that, not many people are familiar with, but when that one or few people recognize it, I'm sure it feels amazing.
It feels really special, yeah.
That's really good to hear because, like I said, you rarely see those kind of characters.
Yeah, and that's not even that rare of a character. It's just, I don't know. People want to do I don't know. I don't know where I'm going with this. It doesn't feel rare to me, but I'm realizing now that maybe I'm old. A lot of characters, I'm convinced that 2000 was 10 years ago, but it wasn't.
No,
Not that old.
It was 20 years ago.
I want to hear it.
Don't feel bad. I feel old, and I am old. So, if you consider 28 old.
I don't, because that means I'm old.
Now, do you have any experience? We got a couple minutes here. Do you have any experiences you'd like to share? Any funny, embarrassing, sad, weird, awkward moments while either cosplaying or going to conventions? I always try to bring in a little humor into the podcasts I do.
I'm going to tell you the first one that comes to mind, even though it completely embarrasses my friend. So we were doing a Candyland skit as Princess Lollipop, Queen Frostine, and Galoppy. And if you're from the board game, Gloppy is a giant pile of fudge, right? So he's just a glob. My friend cosplayed Gloppy, and I actually made this for her. This was like year 3 of us cosplaying at all. It was like a ghost cosplay with these giant googly eyes, and using a DVD case, we made it so a tongue could pop out, and we glued like chunks of foam that was spray painted brown. It's the most upsetting thing. She also wore fishnets with it for no reason. She didn't enter for costume construction. At cons, you can enter for skit or costume. So we only entered our skit, which Gloppy made sense in the skit. A character from Monster Hunter called Leglomp won, but my friend misheard it as Gloppy, so she turns to our friend in Savannah misheard it as Gloppy, so she turns to our friend in the ghost costume, who I will keep unnamed because right now her identity is anonymous.
Yeah, no,
So
always keep it anonymous here.
She doesn't do social media or anything. She's another one of those friends I dragged into doing skits with me. And she pushes her on stage, and they actually had said Leglomp, who's a character from Monster Hunter.
Oh,
so she goes out to claim an award for best costume in this brown ghost costume with chunks of foam just on it. And the person who was running the contest just says, "Not you." So she goes back to where we were on stage because we had won for our skit. And as they're like, give everyone a round of applause, she backs up off the stage and almost pulls the curtain down because she's just trying to sink into the background at this point.
Oh, poor thing.
Like, it's been long enough that we joke about it all the time. Like, we just went on a friend date the other weekend, and I was like, remember that time? And it's like, we'll never forget. It was just so funny.
Never forget. Oh, no. That's never fun. I mean,
time it wasn't funny,
but looking back at it, looking back at it now, it's something you can talk about and just laugh about, kind of thing.
Oh my gosh! Well, and nobody knows who it was, right? Because she was wearing this ghost costume. But I know.
I mean, again, props to those cosplayers that can conceal their face when cosplaying a character.
Right. Sometimes it works to your advantage.
It definitely does. I got like 2 minutes to go. Any advice you'd like to give out there for first-time con goers or first-time cosplayers who are considering on wanting to try this?
Like, oh, this printed, this has to be EVA foam. Back when I started, I would go to the dollar store and find items to spray paint. You know what I mean? Like, there's not a right or wrong way, and sometimes a little bit of creativity can go a long way. You don't have to do it exactly like someone else did. You don't have to do it 100% accurate to the image. Do what's fun for you. Use the skills that you want to use or hone or work on, and have fun at the end of the day. You know, don't be hard on yourself, because at the end of the day, we're all nerds running around in costume, having fun, and just, you know, enjoying this shared interest and shared love of cosplay and general nerddom.
I couldn't agree. I honestly couldn't agree anymore. I think, you know, that's what most people will realize is that cosplay is for everyone, no matter your skill, your age, height, weight, you know, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I think people forget of it.
Oh, yeah, no. And that should about wrap it up. Again, thank you for coming on to talk about all that your cosplay experience and your cosplays and the advice given to those who are listening.
Yeah, thank you for having me. And if anybody wants to see some of the cosplays we were talking about today, I'm really the most active on Instagram, /Cosplaimee, COSPLAIMEE. I have Facebook, but really you're going to get the most up-to-date updates at Instagram. So thanks so much.
Oh, you are most welcome. And you can find all those links to Cosplaymee's Instagram and everything in the description below. So thank you again, Cosplaymee. Again, I'm Wayne the Unknown. Thank you for listening, and until next time, thank you for watching.